All right, hello. We are here for basically piecing it all together, and hopefully this will be easy peasy, boring stream. Much of the work has been done. Now, the last stream, we basically got the power supply put back into the metal case. That's not a whole lot was really accomplished with that because the CRT that was in this Compaq Portable has stopped working. And even when it was last working, it wasn't working great. So I'm not even all that confident if I can figure out how to get high voltage on that CRT, if it would even be adequate. And as I posted in my little update, I've picked up Compaq Portable number 3. And that's not a Compaq Portable 3, that's a plain Compaq Portable. It's just the third one I've picked up now. And so that one had the keyboard snipped off of it, so it was purely only useful as a pile of parts. Um, and it's depending how you look at it, the fortunate or unfortunate thing is that it was a pile of mostly good parts. It's unfortunate because if there was a good keyboard, it would be a good, um, it'd probably be a good machine. The floppy drive might not be working, and the hard drive has corrupt data on it. But I find old hard drives that have been sitting for many years tend to not do well with the data that's on them. And sometimes just doing a reformat and all that um, will get it back to life. Of course, it could quite be possible that it is failing and a new format will just basically be setting it up to um, fail even more and cause problems. Who knows? Um, but the parts machine has a good motherboard, has a good video card, has a good floppy controller, good hard drive controller, uh, cases, screws, and I needed a bunch of cases, screws, and I could use a few extra cards and things. Um, because one of the unfortunate things is I'm trying to keep this to as much of the parts that came with it because I kind of feel like if I had game, if I was really good, I could have just bought this machine and just fixed up this machine and not been turning to other computers for parts. Of course, I gave up on the CRT and put another CRT in there. And I think that's probably a smart move because if you're going to hurt yourself on something, it's going to be the thing that does high voltage. So that's probably the one part to just not mess with unless you really know what you're doing. And I don't. Um, I know enough what I'm doing to know to discharge the CRT and to not poke my fingers around in that part when it's getting power. So I probably know enough to be safe to work on it, but beyond that, I don't know why it's not getting high voltage. And I'm reaching a point where I'm questioning where certain wires go, and I could probably burn out a lot of other parts. Now, unfortunately, Compaq Portable number 2, which for a while was my working Compaq Portable, has a dead video card in it now. I bought Compaq Portable 2, and it had a dead floppy drive, and I basically pulled the floppy and hard drive from the first one over into that machine and used that as my one and working. And now I'm kind of like, I really should be able to put it into 2 working machines, and one that's 2 floppies and one that's floppy and hard drive to have kind of both layouts that were common of that machine would be nice. But Compaq Portable 2 has a dead floppy and a dead video card, and I can't figure out why the video card died, and I've not been successful in resurrecting it. I tried uh, replacing a capacitor, and when I replaced the capacitor and it wasn't really adequately put into the circuit, um, it resulted in the machine not tripping out, but no video coming out the video card. And I touched up the capacitor and found that one of my connections was a little weak, and it was just kind of floating. And it's back to shorting out when I turn on the machine. So I'm thinking that might have been the wrong capacitor, or not a problematic capacitor, or shorting something else out with the way I'm putting it in there. And I don't know. At this point, I'm half tempted to put in another machine that has a power supply that won't trip out and find out what blows. And from that point, I because I can't, nothing's obviously bad on it. Nothing's showing as bulging or leaking. I don't know. We might try that. Heck, I got a 486 over here that's got large slots in there. It's kind of a Frankenstein machine that I have no sentimental attachment to, and I expect it should just blow a capacitor and not take anything else out with it. So I might throw the card in there, turn on the machine, see what happens. Of course, I'll have the cam running if we do that. I don't think we'll do that tonight, though. But anyways, a few problems is I think I'm short on screws in this machine because I've lost screws. And the other thing is I went through my box of parts and I couldn't find this plate, which is the plate that holds the drives in place on the top when it's lying down. And I could have sworn I've seen this lying around. I could have sworn I had it in the box here with the parts or whatever, but I can't find it. So this is the one off the new parts machine. What I don't like about using stuff off the new parts machine is the parts machine and the second Compaq Portable all have kind of gold tinted metal, whereas this one, the first one I picked up, is silver metal. So when you start changing around these metal parts, it's obvious when you start taking the case off that it's not all original metal parts, and I don't like that. Which also leaves you with the debate. This machine never had the plate that goes over the expansion cards. Someone left that plate off at some point, which I can see why. It doesn't actually provide any additional functionality, and is a thing that you have to take off to actually get to the card slots. And the cards are secure by screw. So yeah, this bracket is just kind of an obstruction. So I have this one off the new parts machine, which also has the gold tinged metal. So on the one hand, I could put this on the machine and have complete casing, or I could just leave it off like it was when I found it. Being that I have it, maybe I'll put it in there. But then again, I'm really hoping that the plate that goes to this machine for this turns up at some point when I'm rummaging through stuff. And as soon as that happens, I'm going to be swapping this back out for that right one, because anytime I take the case off and I see this gold tinged metal next to silver metal, it's going to make me cringe and think that, that came off another machine, So maybe I'm going to probably leave this off. But I have the option to put that on if I want to. So anyways, really, the starting point here is to get the front faceplate on, which is also our base or bottom when it's standing up, which is what we're going to need to get the sides back on and the handle back on. So I've locked the keyboard into place onto the faceplate, and I've cleaned up all these parts with baking soda and water. And that pretty much gets most of the heavy scuffing off and gets it looking nice. It hasn't completely eliminated every last bit of any scuffing, but it looks pretty darn clean compared to what it looked like before. And I think to get to the point of removing every last trace of scuffing, actually, this is already starting to show a little bit. And I don't know why. Oh, probably because it's been moving around on the desk here when I had it connected briefly. So I'll probably clean up without needing to do any heavy duty wet cleaning. So I'm going to, but anyways, you'll see it looks nice and pretty. It should look nice and pretty put back together. So we're going to feed this wire in through this tube, and it'll come out the other side near where the motherboard connectors are. And then we could reconnect that to the motherboard. And we'll kind of go over that. So right now I'm kind of feeling the other end of the tube over here to try to feel when the keyboard connect. Oh, it's right there. Okay. All right. So we're going to push that through a little bit more while guiding it out the other side. All right. Very good. Very good. And that is good. Now we'll go ahead and line this up the rest of the way. We're going to stand this up. And as you may recall from the previous video, I had the drives in here, and I had some cards in here because I was testing out things were working before I put it all back together. But we need to screw up here the handle on when we put this back together. And heck, I probably should have left the CRT out before doing that, because that's one of the challenges of these things is that you have these two screws here and all these obstructions that make it so you have to completely disassemble anything if you want to completely disassemble it and take the case off. But I found that getting like a screwdriver bit, or depending what type of screw it is, the right bit into a socket wrench, and then having the angle that way is enough to tighten one. And then, but I figured at least one of the two I could have completely clear. So anyways, I've got 6 screws here that are going to go into little, you might have saw there was like a tab that pokes up from the top and the bottom. And then, of course, there's 2 holes on either side. And, of course, no matter how much you line it into the threads and turns, the screw's got to fall out of the spot where you put it and say, no, I don't want to go into the threads. Because why would it make it easy for me? All right, come on, get you lined up there. All right, get the screwdriver in there. And I'm not going to clamp that down because I probably want some wiggle room to line up the holes. So we'll do that. We got 2 on this side. All right, that's good. Grab another one for this side. And I also don't know where the power cord went that came with this machine. But then again, it probably got thrown into a pile of power cords at some point or mixed up with others. So I know my second one has the original power cord that came with it, at least the power cord that was in it when it was shipped to me. It's quite an assumption to make that any of these machines have the original power cord coiled up in them. It's just a plain black computer power cord. And it could have gotten mixed up at any point in time over the years that these have been in storage or in use. But, you know, it would be nice to have as many original parts together with it as you can. And so keeping the cord that came with it gives you a chance that it's the original cord that came with it when it was purchased. It's not like they have Compaq branding on them. I don't think they do anyways. What's funny is actually a pretty cool Compaq Portable auction on eBay right now that's been sitting unmoved, which has been quite tempting, but I have so many of these things piled up, I can't justify purchasing another 2 machines of these. But there's an auction right now on eBay that's set with no bids. That is 2 machines that are advertised as working. With a $200 starting bid. Of course, you got to pay shipping from Texas, so that's going to be like another $100. And one of them's a Compaq Plus, which would be nice to have a Compaq Plus because I have 2 Compaq Portables, Parts Machine Compaq Portable, a Compaq Portable 2 and a Compaq Portable 3, but I don't have a Compaq Portable Plus, which was in between the Compaq Portable and Compaq Portable 2. Technically, it was in between the Compaq Portable and Compaq Portable 286, and then the Compaq Portable 2 came out after that. Dune wants to know if it's soup yet. I don't know if soup would be good or bad. I know sometimes the phrase is used, it's soup, meaning that the meal is ready, whether or not the meal is soup, which was always confusing to me because I'm like, I was like, no, Dad, it's pot roast, or what the hell you soup? There's no soup here. What do you? So I don't know if you're asking if it's ready or if you're asking if it's turned into a puddle of liquid with chunks of things floating around in it. But either way, it's going to be one of those. We're just basically putting it back together at this point, and I think I got all the parts I need for it to be together, and I cleaned them all up, scrubbed them nice and clean with baking soda. All right, so we've got our faceplate on with the keyboard connected there. Now we do want to connect the keyboard to the motherboard. So back here in the back of the case is where we have this panel where we got the power supply connector that connects to the motherboard. This is the sound connector that connects the sound output to the PC speaker. And then up here is a little keyboard connector. And here's the other end of the keyboard cable with this small little connector that's unlike any other keyboard connector I've ever seen. Heck, the Compaq Portable 3 uses a standard keyboard connector. I don't know about the 2, though. We'll find out. But this is a unique keyboard connector. All right, so that's all connected, which means we can put this plate back on here. So this... I think this goes like that, and this slides under there. And then that aligns with that screw, and that slot goes with that screw. And now we just got to tighten those 2 screws. All right, and there we go. We got that plate back on there and everything connected to the motherboard. Now to review, what was I going to review? That connect the motherboard. It went through a slot in here with these screws holding it in because it's attached to this metal plate and these plastic. So if you ever need to take the motherboard out, you take that plate off. You disconnect the 3 things here. You take these screws off at the top, and of course you have to have all your add-on cards taken out. And then you take these screws out and just lift the board up. Easy peasy. Doesn't even require taking off the plastic casing around here. In fact, no servicing on this machine requires taking apart all the plastic casing that I did. That's just an extra step to go through if you're cleaning this up. Of course, plastic handles that snap out, you do got to take out to get in. But these plastic parts, totally optional to ever take out of here. So now I got to figure out which screws, which way these go, and which screws I need to remove to slide this back on. I think I need 2 screws on each side that are about halfway up. Okay, so we got to take these 2 screws out. Which I only had hand tight in there halfway for safekeeping. And then, how come I got like 6? Oh, some of these screws are for other things. And let's see, this is the top. So it's going to be this panel. So it's going to be, that's going to be this nut. This side gets a nut, just to be different. And this side gets a screw. And I think this one has the part that slides on top. So we got to put the bottom on first. All right, so let's go ahead and let's figure this out. These slide into these slots here. It doesn't want to slide into these slots here, but it's going to. It's kind of fighting me on this. All right, there we go. I think I got it. Okay, all right, there we go. And all right, that got to do a little massaging here to get these plastic pieces to. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. All right, that's there. That's there. Perfect. Perfect. Now these two little Phillips heads go in to hold that piece of plastic on, except that this corner piece hasn't snapped in right yet. All right. Why is this not lining up just right? All right, let's. This is not aligning right, and I can't figure out why it's not. I had this in here all right and correctly, but it's not. And these are the same panels that came off. I didn't mix and match any of these panels, but it's coming in low. All right, well, that one's coming in all right. All right, let's try putting one of these screws in then. It's still a little low, actually. Or a little off. Oh, motherfucker. You stupid son of a... These tiny screws are so... There we go. All right, now. You fucking stay put and don't go sliding in the places you don't belong, you stupid motherfucking screw. Dude, what did we just talk about? Why can't you just stand up while I put the screwdriver in? There we go. There we go. So that screws in. And we can tighten that, but before we tighten that, let's see if we can figure out why this is not lining up right. This part move or something? I don't get how this could be that off. I mean, it's like a half an inch off. There's just no room for me to wiggle it that much. I don't understand how this could have moved that much. All right, we'll tell you what. We're going to put the other plate on and see how that lines up. And the moral of the story may be, as much as you might want to clean this up, just never take these parts off. All right, now that is going to have to line up to that, since that's a mounted screw that we nut into place. All right, and that's going in. All right, cool. That's snapping. Oh, we want that to snap under that, not over, under. There we go. All right, that's going under there. All No, you need to go under there. Come on now. Come on. One very important thing I've forgotten is the little side panels that slide over the compartments. So let's back this on off here now. Except that now I don't want to back off of there. Come on. All right. I think these two parts are identical. And I'm not sure how we get them to stay put. Okay, all right, so they actually go onto the chassis. So I gotta take this bottom part off that fought me. Son of a freaking, which is fine because there's only one screw I can take out since the other screw decided to not cooperate. All right, so let's once again take that off. All right, now let's see. Does this part? No, this part is attached to the case, so this part is not adjustable. So I can't figure out why the plastic wouldn't align to that. I mean, it was built to align to that. It has one job: align to that. All right, so these parts. Oh, I see. It only actually slides in on that side. And actually, I don't think it's supposed to. Huh. Okay, so this is just a pain in the ass is what this is. All right. So I didn't need to put that on first. And there's nothing that, it basically just snaps in, and through standard pressure of the plastic pieces, stays into place there. So, I mean, I could put it into there like that. And I could put this one, oh, fuck you, screwdriver. All right, put that one in like that, and those two. Someone needs to invent a screwdriver that doesn't drop. All right. Now let's see. We get this panel on with these brackets. There we go. There we go. All right, we're still only getting one of the screw holes to actually line up. And we're still getting a screw that doesn't like catching a thread on the first 20 turns. But there we go. All right, that's good. That's good. All right, so now can we get that to fucking stay in its spot? No, of course not. This in over here. Come on. It's your home. It's where you belong. It's where you should want to go. Okay. Now let's see if we can get this. So once again, we got certain pieces that need to go under pieces and certain pieces that need to slide over pieces. All right, so those are going under. That's sliding out of place again. And that needs to line up with that. And that needs to be massaged back into place. And that's basically it, except that it's not quite wanting to stay there. But we got a nut to put on this. And we got a screw to put in that, which that's lining up. Okay, that's good. All right, let's get that screwed in. All right, there we go. This is starting to look like something again. But these parts aren't quite lining up right. All right, there it goes. There it goes. But this door isn't snapping into place right. And this still is, oh my God, why is this being so wrong? This is not how this is supposed to be fitting together. That's how that's supposed to fit together. Now let's see if we can force that screw in somehow. No, that's not happening. But if you tighten this up a bit, that might help us some. All right. That panel's good. That panel's kind of okay, but this is kind of not as tight as it should be because for some reason these holes aren't lining up properly anymore. But once we put the handle on, that should probably better hold the case in alignment. Okay, so we're going to put the handle on is what we're going to do. Sir Mar says, don't worry, I'll look the other way if you just zip tie that. Yeah, zip tie. That's not going to help me all that much. All right, so these brackets hold the handle, which also adheres the two halves together on the top. So we want to put that there and align that there. We want to get the screw to come up through both holes. And then we want to, and that's why I left some scuffing on the top, because much of the scuffing on the top is going to be hidden. By the handle. That's where all those scuffs are from, where the handle parts were. And the handle is very important because that's the part that makes this portable. You couldn't call this portable if it didn't have this big fucking handle on it. All right, so now for the tricky screw. And this screw is being a little tricky, but we're getting it. Just not getting it as much as I would have liked to have gotten it, because now we got to make that screw twist nicely, and I can't fit a part in there, and it's not spinning nicely. Okay, so we got to jerry rig up at the tool. Well, fuck you too. It'd be nice if someone could make a socket wrench set that doesn't have a bunch of parts that go flying and jumping out of it just by the act of opening it up carefully. But apparently the laws of gravity don't exist to tools, and they'll just jump all over the fucking place willy-nilly. All right, so I got my little screwdriver bits here that go with my little tool. And so basically I'm going to find a Phillips attachment here. And I'm going to put it into a socket wrench adapter. And that way, that gives me a Phillips head screwdriver with a 90-degree angle. Now, the other option I have is that my little mini tool has a tube that I can attach to it that's flexible and still turns. But I'm going to try this first. So I'm hoping what I can do is, and I'll do this on its side, hoping I can get this in here and use that to tighten the screw. Although it's really tough to get this in here right. And it's not catching because it's barely popping through. Because it's not quite aligned as much as it should be. I really don't want to take the CRT out of here again. Why is this not lining up right? I can't even get the screw to come out now because it's in an angle because these stupid parts are not aligning up exactly. No matter how much pressure I put on them. All right, let's take this Phillips attachment. Let's put on our flexible hose. Let's put that tip here for safekeeping. And let's see if we can get this to put some pressure on that to turn it. All right, well now it's protruding a little more, so there's that. This stupid screwdriver tool had a little magnet inside of here that popped out and won't fit back in, and it does nothing but sticks to anything it comes in close contact with, except for the things I want it to stick to. So this tool was a waste of money. Not to mention the stupid flexible hose is not doing anything useful. Well, fuck you too. Problem is, I don't have enough hands to actually hold this, turn that, and hold that. But I have rotated this some, and that's caused the screw to move further into there. So now the question is can I make this turn and catch into that piece? And of course not, because I need 3 hands to do it. Because I need, I think, ah! My God, can I just get a tool that stays together? Amazon recommended my ass. It's an awful tool that no one should ever recommend. Anyways, I think we keep turning the screw. It should tighten a little more, but the problem is that eventually the resistance is such that it starts wearing on the tip. All right, let's try this some more. You really just need to get that screw tight. That way the handle is secure and it's holding the half secure, and I don't have this piece of metal looking like it's half hanging out. All right, that's pretty good. And this one has plenty of space to work with, just needs a few turns. And that's good. All right, I think that'll do it. Now the real question is there any hope for this hole? And unfortunately, there just isn't. That is not going to line up with that, and I don't know how that got so out of alignment. But everything else aligns and snaps together good. These panels are working good. The handle's back on. All right, so we're done with this side, so we can put that plastic piece back. So we're going to grab this, and this is pretty easy. You line this up with there and push that in, and it just snaps right on. And there we go. Looks just like a sewing machine again from this side. And Sir Mark's running nowhere. That's a breathing hole. And meanwhile, we're just going to lie this down, and now we realize the reason why we didn't want to put that panel on is because we still got to screw our drives in place, and we want to get to screws on both sides of our drives. So, we come over here, and we do a little massaging, and we injure our fingers on this. All right, that's, oh my God. This one went on so fucking tight, you have to injure yourself to get it off. This went on so tight, I'm wondering if this was the original panel that was on this side, because I didn't mark them because they are identical and they could go on either way. All right, we need to try that in there. There we go. Probably a little bit across the way. There we go. It's just plastic that snaps in, and a little bit of pressure makes it snap out without breaking, unless it decides to break. But there it is. But none of these broke. It's these little, there's basically 5 little clips that snap into notches here that you basically have to use pressure to get out of the notches. There may have been a pry tool that Compaq offered to service techs once upon a time. But I think a lot of service techs got good at just kind of prying it with their fingers, which I have been good at. But that one went in rather tight, so I'm not going to put that one back in that side because I think I got the order wrong there. Okay, so now we need to put our drives back in. And so we got a floppy drive here. And we're going to put that over here. And we got some screws. Now, there were 4 screws, 8 screws, 4 for each drive, that were in this machine, and I don't know where the 4 screws that were in this case ended up, because I took the drives out of this machine a long time ago, and I have a feeling that I stored the screws somewhere for safekeeping before I completely disassembled the rest of this. And of course, my screws are doing anything but catching threads, which is their one and only reason for existing. But that's mainly because there's these stupid metal pieces that are flexible that also have holes in them that have to adjust to just the right spot. So not only do you have to align the screw with the hole on the drive, but you got to have the flexible metal part positioned just so to let the screw through. And you got to do this all in places where you can't see a damn thing that's going on, and everything is fighting you and getting in your way and not letting you move things out of the way so you can take a fucking look at what the hell it's doing. Did it actually go in? No, of course not. It's just being a freaking twat. Oh, come on. Get out of there. What the, oh, of course, it caught onto the fucking thing. I think this machine's supposed to have a reputation for being very serviceable. I have to say, I'm not impressed. There's a lot of annoyances with how this was put together. And, I mean, component computers have come a long way. You know, you buy a Dell and all the parts come apart without needing a screwdriver. And sure, this machine is very old. But I don't think it should be that unreasonable to expect the technology of the early 80s to be able to come up with a concept like what Dell did with the removable parts without screws. I mean, that is not rocket science what Dell did there. Why did it take so long for someone to come up with that idea? I mean, if you're building something to be serviceable and you're really thinking ideas, I think Compaq could have done better than, well, we have these rubber pieces and these holes and these metal tabs that bend over. And, you know, it's... All right, so is that lined up with that? Yeah, that's lined up with that. Okay. So we'll push that back there. And we'll try to get this to come in here. And we'll try to keep that lined up there. I don't know. Maybe I'm picky, but it's just like, why couldn't we have come up with these ideas sooner? Because this screw does not want to go into the floppy drive. It's fighting me every step of the way. But there we go. Okay. All right. We got that one in. So now we got two on the bottom. And unfortunately, like I said, I lost all those screws on this one. They're probably somewhere in the basement. I'll probably find them someday. But until then, I had to take the screws out of the parts machine that I purchased this past week. And that parts machine had 7 of the 8 screws in it. So I'm still short one. And also, 4 of the 8 screws were of the star variety. And this machine originally had all Phillips holding in the drives. And so is that a big deal? Well, probably not. But you know me, I'm kind of bugged that I'm putting parts in that look different from what was originally in here. But then again, what's even original? I mean, the hard drive that's in here wasn't stock from Compaq, although it could have came from the reseller that originally sold the machine, or it could have been an end user update. All right, so the floppy drive's in, except for the last screw that goes over the metal plate that we'll put over that later. And then we have the hard drive. And this is a IBM 10 megabyte hard drive, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's a full height hard drive, and it's not just a full height plate with a half height hard drive. It's a full fucking height hard drive that only holds 10 megs of data. Could I put something better in this machine? Yes, I absolutely could. The parts machine that I picked up came with this, which is a very similar looking faceplate, but it's a half height Seagate 20 meg drive. And this is a much newer controller card than the controller card that this IBM uses. And so I could put this in there. This drive's got some corrupt data on it, but that could just be from sitting so long. A new format on this drive could bring it back to life, or a new format on this drive could reveal that it's dead. But I actually have a spare of these that I could replace this faceplate with. So I could totally put a 20 meg drive in here. And I probably should. But A, this is the drive that was in this computer when I bought it. And B, there's something unique about this. How primitive this technology is compared to some of the older technology. It's twice the size of the 20 meg drives. It's only 10 megs. It's an IBM drive. There's a coolness factor there to me. It's probably going to die on me. It makes a lot of noises that it shouldn't make. So there's that. So I figure I'm going to put this in. And I plus I already installed the operating system on here and everything, because this was what I was using on the second Compaq Portable when I had that one Frankenstein together. But now that I'm basically repairing this, I don't consider Frankenstein, because the parts I'm replacing into here are coming from strictly a parts machine, and I intend on getting the second machine operational as well. So yeah, I'm going to put this in. And I'm just going to use it until it stops working. And it's not like I turn this thing on every day. The one problem I ran into is that the Molex connector came off. And so I bought a Molex adapter and stripped the wires and soldered the contacts there. And so this little Molex wire that's coming off the back here powers it, which is perfectly fine. Some drives have a thing that hangs off the end. Some drives have an adapter directly built in or mounted on something. I mean, so it's probably not the best and not the most ideal, but it works. And, not to mention, this drive's dying anyways. Who knows how much longer it's going to last. All right, so let's connect our power to the floppy drive we screwed in and our grounding connector. And I'm Going to move that power wire out of the way. And we're going to go ahead and drop this in here. And we're going to play the screw game again. And I think this is good to line up. And let me screw it in. Of course, it's always a tight fit to get it lined up with these rubber pieces. All right, there we go. And I'm putting the Phillips on top because that's what's opened up more often when servicing it. So I'm hiding my star screws underneath. All right, there we go. I think that lines up to the threads. And we'll go ahead and get that started in there and curse and scream because it's not starting in there. Come on. Come on. Come on. All right, maybe you can put the bottom screws in first. Actually, we're only going to put one screw in the bottom because we're short a screw, as I mentioned before. But like I said, I'm hoping missing screws turn up someday. All right, I'm going to put that one down here. And that is screwing into nothing. Why can't I get a fucking screw started tonight? God. This way of putting hard drives in is the fucking worst. You know? It's okay, there we go. We got a hole lined up. Let's screw. There we go. Let's dance the screw, part 1. Dun, 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 dun. Dance the screw. Okay, that's still not going in. Why can't I get this lined up? Why won't it just go in? All right, I think that's where it needs to be. And no, it's not catching anything there. Oh my God. Where the fuck is it? Where the fuck is the fucking screw hole on this damn thing? I can't see a damn thing to work on here. How am I supposed to see anything to line up a hole? God, this design is just the fucking worst. Okay. That should line up that hole so that I can put that screw right in and have it nudge the hole off to the side and not do a damn thing. Oh my God! Maybe I should just get some wood screws. And if the fucking hole won't line up, I'll make my own damn holes. Okay, so apparently the reason why this isn't lining up is because this stupid drive only fits one way and it got put in the wrong way. And now, of course, it don't want to let me pull out because those stupid plastic pieces get in the way. All right, so there's only one set of holes and they're on that side. I thought that was the top. Oh, God, I fucking hate these things. All right. And of course, every little wire's got to get in my fucking way. All right, there we go. There we go. Now we should be able to get a hole lined up. There we go. It's so much easier when you put it in the right way. All right, silly me. My bad. All right, so now this one should go in pretty easy. Because that one doesn't have a metal tab that might get in the way. All right, there we go. And so now we're done with this side. So now we're going to put this plastic piece back on. And there we go. It snaps right on like that. Then we're going to come over here. What are we going to do next? Next, I think we're going to start to, well, we got to connect these wires. Got to connect the power to the hard drive. I'm going to duck that out of the way down there. Duck that down. And now we got to put our add-in cards in. All right, so here we have our floppy controller, and I'm going to move some tools around a bit here so I can move the case a bit and put it someplace where we can observe a bit better. Used to be when you had a flashlight app, it would turn the flashlight off when you locked the phone. Except for, which was annoying. And now that I got used to that, the flashlight app leaves the flashlight on and drains the battery when you don't expect it to. All right. There we go. All right. Now let's Slide this over a bit. Got a pin here. That's the screw that wouldn't fit in. Okay. Oh, we need to tighten that nut. So let's find the right socket that tightens that nut. And tighten both of these while we're at it, actually. That's the one. All right, we'll tighten that because that panel we're done with. And this further tightens this side panel. There we go. Starting to look like a computer again. All right, so over here, we're going to try to get a camera angle that isn't. But basically, we're going to take our floppy controller here, and this is the original floppy controller that was in this machine when I picked it up, and this slides in. This is a rather tight fit because we got all these wires coming off of these hard drives that want to bulge out a bit, and they put this slot right behind there. But it fits. It fits, and that will get a screw to hold it in on the side. I'm just trying to find the visually right screw for that, which is one of these. And let's finally screw that into place because we're done taking this in and out all the time. It's one of those really annoying screws with the shallow slotted head, which if I were smart, I would change one of the star screws. But since these are the screws that this particular one came with, I have this desire to keep them. All right, I was going to try to do this without moving it because of the camera angle, but it's just not cooperating with me. Because the screw keeps wanting to cross thread, and the screwdriver doesn't want to catch the slot, and it's just not catching that first thread nicely. So that I can, okay, there we go. There we go. All right, so there's the floppy controller, which has a parallel port off the back. And see, this computer's got holes on the top here, and the stock cards that came with it had holes that would screw there rather than screwing them up here. Although there are also screw holes to screw things up there, and that's where the metal plates came in. As you can see, this had 4 of the 5 slots in use. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to put 4 cards in here. First card's a floppy controller. Here's our floppy cable that we're going to go ahead and snap in over here. And these computers came stock with 2 cards. And the second card it would come with is the video card. And I'm not going to screw this video card in because I think we're going to test another video card before we're done here tonight. Because this video card has a problem that the composite output is being funky. And we're going to test that again and demonstrate that in a moment. I have a little screen that we can use here to do that. But of course, these video cards are unique to this machine. They've come in several models. I have 3 Compaq Portables, and each one has a slightly different video card. I don't know how many different models they came up with these, but they changed quite a bit frequently. In fact, here's the video card for the parts machine. As you can see, if I put them side by side, This one is much taller than this one. But they both have this 10-pin connector on them that connects to the built-in screen. And then they also have a RGB and composite output on the end of the slot there. And these both have that. And they both have the screw hole to screw from the outside. I know these both work for the internal screen. I have not tested the composites on this tall one. But I'm going to start with the one that was in this machine when I originally bought it. Which it may have been about a year that I bought this now, because I bought this machine at an antique radio swap meet up in Nashua, New Hampshire, and they have them like every so many months. And I'm actually going up to one this Sunday. They're early, so I should be back in time for normal Sunday evening festivities. So this is not like a, oh, by the way, I'm not going to be around Sunday. No, I'm going to be around Sunday. I'm just going to be in Nashua, New Hampshire in the morning. All right, so we're not going to screw that one in yet because we're going to do some testing. The next thing that we should put in is the hard drive controller, because the hard drive controller's got those wires that got to reach around things. So we may as well put that closer than further. And this is a MFM controller. And an MFM hard drive requires two cables, a wide cable and a narrow cable. And an MFM controller will have one wide cable and two narrow cables, because you could get a wide cable that has two connectors on it, one past a twisted pair, so that you can connect two drives off of the wide connector. But each drive has to have its own narrow cable. So, of course, we only have one hard drive in here. So this set of cables came to support two drives, and they were all both connected to the controller. But actually, only one of these narrow cables is actually hooked up to anything. So the other one's connected to here for no reason, and it exists only for the. It only exists so that if one were to decide to add a second hard drive to here, you would have the cable. You know, it's a complete set. Because here's the second connector on the wide connector for the past the twisted pair. So if we put a second drive in there, we connect that. We connect the other narrow cable that's not connected to anything. And we'd also have to have the pin configurations correctly on the second drive. And I found that those drives can be finicky, and who even knows if that cable works past that twisted pair, because I drove myself nuts over a pair of MFM drives only to find out that the cables went bad. But there is an outfit in, I think, Colorado that custom makes cables to order and has all kinds of connectors and things available. And so you can custom order MFM cables from them. It just takes them some time to build them and ship them. And then if you order them rush, that's rush build, you still have to wait for the shipping. And now I am struggling to get this to slide in nicely because the cables are pushing away from things. Because I got this video cable that's right here, and I got the MFM cables that are coming in here. And I'm wondering if this might be better in the further bay, but then I'd have to stretch these cables over even more cards. And for some reason, this video card keeps trying to get in my way, and this floppy cable keeps getting in the way too. And I don't understand why. All right, I think we're going to want to do that. There we go. And it keeps falling out of the plastic rail, which I don't want it to do because I want it to stay lined up properly. And that's another thing. These plastic rails on the end are held strictly by a little bit of pressure on a plastic peg in a hole and wishes and dreams. And So oftentimes they come off. And so I super glued that back on. And just by trying to put this card back on, it snapped it right back off. Because fuck me with a chainsaw, that's why. Because it's a tight fit and it's not very secure. So that's another, what I would consider to be poor design of the Compaq Portable, are these stupid fucking plastic rails that were built so tight to need to take more pressure than they were designed to take. And of course, trying to fit this into this tight spot has resulted in this cable coming off of the controller. Because fuck you, that's why. All right, I'm thinking this controller wants to be further away. So I'm going to try putting in the clock RAM card and then seeing if the cable will stretch far enough to the back bay, because maybe that's the order these are in. So this is a RAM clock card. I have taken the battery out of it because it does not work as a clock card, because no one has any idea what the fuck it is or where the fuck to get a driver for it. I've asked several times on several forums, what the heck is this card? Someone pointed me to a page that has several clock card drivers and said one of those might work, even though none of them say they are for your card. And that person was an idiot, because none of them work. So I don't know how all knowledge of a piece of hardware that was manufactured and sold in many computers over a course of years could be completely lost, but all knowledge of this card seems to be lost. But it still adds RAM. So it's worth putting in here to bump it up to 640K of RAM, but I still have to put the date and time in every time I turn the thing on. However, the parts machine also has a RAM clock card, and I know the RAM part of it works. I have not had a chance to Google this or check that page of drivers to see if maybe I can find a driver for this one. So this is a potential future upgrade if that will do. And that one slid in enough that the rail, despite popping out from the glue held portion, is holding into place and it's fit in there. So now let's see if this controller is going to fit, if this wire is going to reach. Yeah, this is good. And this way I have a larger gap between cards for my connectors. This is probably how this was originally in here. And we're going to gently put that in there. All right, so basically, oh, and then we need to connect the floppy back up to the controller. All right. And at this point, I think we can put this plate on. This plate covers the floppy drives. I'm just going to kind of duck these into the gap here. Once again, these all slide over screws that have been loosened for safekeeping. And unfortunately, I can't find the original plate that went here because fuck you, that's why. Because it somehow has managed to find its way away from the box of all the parts for this machine. So this is the one that came out of the parts machine. So it's tinted a little more gold than the other plates on here, which bugs the fuck out of me. But I'm hoping that the plate that was originally here turns up one of these days when I'm looking for something else that I can't find. At which point I can put it aside, and next time I have this open after that, I can do that. So now, should be able to tighten that, because yeah, I might move some cards around, but I'm done moving these drives around for now until that 10 meg dries. And so now I can take these two screws, and these should all be in place that I don't need to line up holes anymore, and they should just smooth right in, easy peasy. And they do. All right. And the last screw here for the hard drive. All right. Let's see if we got any chat. See, I think the smallest drive I have is a 120 meg Connor drive. You left the flashlight on for a week and didn't know it. I can see you doing that. Dune writes in, how goes it? Had to bail for a bit. It's going. We got the drives in. We got the cards that originally came with this machine in, and we're going to give it a test run. And we're going to, now I had this all booting basically with all these parts before we put the plastic pieces back on. So there shouldn't be any surprises here. But you never know with these things. Heck, this might be the point where everything decides to go tits up and smoke starts pouring out. You never know. But, all right, we're going to get power on here. And we're going to adjust our cameras. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the hard drive still boots. And we're going to, load a thing or two. Then we're going to test the composite output of the video card. And then we're going to start playing with other cards. And one thing is that, yeah, my keyboard keys are still ugly. I plan on getting my keyboard pulling tool and pulling those keys out this weekend and using my sous vide machine to retrobrite them with some hydrogen peroxide and water. Normally you do that in sunlight, but I saw that the 8-bit guy actually retrobrited his Compaq keys on the stovetop because it wasn't sunny. And apparently heat does just as good as sun. But you don't want to do that in boiling water because that will melt the keys. So 130 to 140 degrees should do it. And my sous vide machine should do that easily without me having to monitor the stovetop like the 8-bit guy did. And then we'll have nice whitened keys that don't look all yellowed and ugly anymore. Also, I'll probably take the opportunity to take this apart and touch up some of the scuffing on the bottom of this keyboard because that's gotten a little bit of scuffing. I think I cleaned this up pretty good when I initially set up this keyboard on the second machine when I was Frankenstein that together, but it's since picked up some scuffing since that is the base of it. So we'll redo that. All right, let's adjust our camera and let's apply power. Oh, one last thing. Our brightness control needs to slide onto the front. So let's slide that back on there. There we go. And there we go. We got a green cursor in the corner there. Not sure if that's coming through. We'll turn the brightness up all the way. Your sous vide. Yeah, normally sous vide is a method of cooking by heating water. If you basically, cooking a steak by sous vide involves, what's it called? When you vacuum seal in plastic a steak, and then you get a tub of water and you heat it up to the temperature you want to cook the steak to. And the sous vide machine is this like heating machine that you put in the tank of water that maintains the water to that temperature consistently. So that way you're cooking the steak at the temperature that you want to cook it to. Whereas when you're cooking it on, a grill or a broiler or an oven or a frying pan, you have to time it right to get the meat to the correct temperature. Whereas doing it in the water brings it all to the right temperature, so it's cooked evenly, nicely. And then you finish it off in the frying pan to sear it. Otherwise, it just looks like a red piece of boiled meat. But it is a very delicious way to do it. Heck, I watched a Mythical Crew, the Mythical Kitchen Crew, did a video where they compared different methods of cooking steak. And the head chef there, he was hoping that he'd find that it was just as good any other way than sous vide, so that he could tell people it's a waste of money to buy a sous vide machine. And they all found, hands down, oh my God, it's so much better. But But sous vide machines are very affordable on Amazon, and it's also great for developing film, and it'll also be great for retrofitting my keyboard. So as we can see, my auto exec batch is still trying to load a clock driver that is the wrong clock driver for my card, so it tells me no. And then I set prompt equals $P $G, which is how we get a proper C prompt to the DOS prompt from older versions of DOS. And then it's asking me the date, which it defaults to January 1st, 1980. And so it is not. It is March 4th, 2022. So we're going to do a 342022. And now we're going to wait for Dune to gripe about how Y2K was all a bunch of bullshit. Okay, we done? Cool. And now we're going to put in the time. And let's see. It's going to be 22:29. And I also said to show me my directory. I have a bunch of games loaded on here. I suppose I should put Lotus 123 on here. I don't know how to use Lotus. I've never used Lotus. But when my dad would bring this thing home, he was bringing it home to use Lotus to bang out a few spreadsheets, I guess. But here's what we'll do. We'll load the demos, because that's what you always do when you load up a Compaq Portable. You bring up the Compaq Portable demos. And these are all programmed in BASIC. Dude writes in, am I wrong? Nope. Well, you're not wrong that there was a lot of bullshit for Y2K. But it wasn't all bullshit. There was an actual Y2K problem, but it wasn't the death and destruction. And also the legit problems that were being worried about were dealt with. And so one could say it wasn't a problem because of all the worrying, but I will say there were a lot of people that had bullshit worrying and tried to entice you all to buy a bunch of shit you didn't need. So it's not quite as simple as it was all bullshit, but yeah, you're not wrong. There was a lot of bullshit there. And yeah, that is something to be pissed about. So I'm going to select option 2. Let's celebrate. And of course, I might as well run through all these. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make sure our RAM card is working. So if I hit 4, what you have, it says we have 640K bytes of RAM. Although I don't think you can really read that. Maybe if let's see if we can size this better. There we go. That's a little better. 640 kilobytes of RAM, 2 disk drives, 1 fixed disk drive, 2 printer ports, 1 RS-232 port, and no game adapter. And I don't know what qualifies as a game adapter on these machines. Maybe a joystick port? I don't know. I'd have to research that. Anyways, Let's Celebrate is a cool thing to demo your Compaq Portable. When I asked my dad to show me fun things it can do, that's what he showed me. And so you get these little fun design things that show off all the great graphic things you can do with it. This CRT, as you can see, has a long fade time. Although I've turned the brightness up to its top brightness to help come through, I usually dim it a bit. But there, we'll set that back to bright. And being that these are programmed in BASIC, you could actually pull up all the code for these, but I've talked about that a lot in the past. And then we get that. And of course, we got the musical art. And I think this thing will always be my earliest memory of computer. So Dune wants to know how much this costs brand new. Um, and I believe the Wikipedia page article will talk about that. Um, let's see. How much was it? I thought in here it said somewhere. Oh, this says how much the Compaq made in sales, but that doesn't tell us how much a machine cost. Somewhere it should say. Let's see. Compaq Portable retail price. Let's see. The Compaq Portable was announced in November 1982 and first shipped in March 1983, priced at US $2,995, equivalent to $7,800 in 2020. Now, mind you, that's the original model that doesn't have a hard drive. So the RAM upgrade and the hard drive, 10 meg hard drive in here, that would have cost someone extra. But yeah, there you go. $3,083. So under 10,000 in today's dollars. Yeah, that's why. I mean, keep in mind, my dad worked on one of these that the firm he worked for owned. Companies bought these, and when you think about the option was buy some of these and bang out some spreadsheets, or get a bunch of paper and pencils. 10 grand for a machine that makes your job that much easier. Yeah, that's and it's time. That's a reasonable price for some. Of course, today it's like, wow, yeah. I mean, heck, you could buy a laptop for much cheaper, get some work done. Oh wow, this has a little screensaver thing that comes up if you don't do anything. Okay. So I have a bunch of other softwares installed on here. But one thing I do want to do is test the composite output. Because the last time I tested the composite output on this machine, it was not working right. And I think it's probably still not working right because I haven't done anything to fix that. And I usually don't get that lucky. So I got a little portable DVD player that the battery still works on. And gives me a composite input. So we're going to set that up on top of the machine here, and we'll adjust our camera so I can kind of show what's going on here. I thought the battery was still working, but apparently not. So yeah, it makes sense. The battery's dead on that. All right. Well, I need to get a power cord connected now. All right. So we're gonna plug in my little portable DVD player here that has an AV input, and we'll check out if we can get composite working on this or not. All right. All right, there we go. And we're going to select AV source. And we got a bunch of noise up there. Let's load the demo again, because I think that will kind of show you what's happening. Oh, it's working now. Kinda. If I wiggle the wire, I can get it to work until I don't. So yeah, as you can see, that composite output is very, very touchy, very finicky, and that seems not right. And I don't think that's you know, it almost feels like it's a wire issue, but it's doing this on all wires. So I don't think it's just the wire. So it's like, what is wiggling the wire doing? Why is it sometimes make it kind of, huh? Yeah, I don't know what's causing these problems, but it's as you can see, that's just kind of a mess, unfortunately, which is too bad because these graphics do have colors when you run them. So yeah, our composite output is just not working. Although every now and then it loads a screen that looks all right, but then it won't load the text right. I don't know if the RGB works on this though. Well, heck, we could load. What can we load? I think I have Leisure Suit Larry on here. That'll give us some composite graphics. So yeah, as you can see, that is just, there's like a wavy mess. There's, I don't know, like the horizontal circuit might be off on the card. But yeah, that is. So I would like to fix this card to work right eventually. But what we're going to do instead for today is we're going to park our drive. We're going to power down. And we're going to swap out that video card for our parts video card that I got off the parts machine. And we'll hope that that card is working on the composite. And if it does, we'll just leave that put for now and fix this card up on a rainy day. So that means we got to get our keyboard to snap back in. And we got to take out our hard drive controller because the cables are blocking the video card. Okay, all right, come on. There we go. We'll just flip that up there. And we're going to leave the clock card in. And we'll just take this video card out. Take off the video connector. And we'll put that off to the side. And we'll go ahead and take this card. And we've got to connect this video connector to that. And this video connector is a little further from the CRT than the original card that was in here. But this is the same CRT that was in the machine that this card was in. So this cable was designed to be long enough for this card. And the pins are a little bent, but there we go. We got them lined up. And this cable's long enough, but it's a tight fit. But we got it. All right. I'm just going to line that up in the slot, and there we go. Clicked right into place. And we'll do a little massaging there. We'll have to screw. If this works, I'll leave that put for now, and I'll screw that in. I'm not going to screw the clock card in because I'm going to do some research on my spare clock card and see if I can find a driver for that one, and then we'll modify the auto exec bat. We'll work on that. And then that'll be great. We get to a point where we have a machine that remembers its date and all the video works right. All right, so that's back together. So let's plug where'd my power cord go? All right, so let's plug things back in. I took the power cord out of the DVD player. And we need to connect our composite cable to the composite output of the video card. And because composite is kind of important, especially if you're going to play games on this machine. Because RGB graphics can only support 4 color on an RGB monitor. But if you want to play games on this machine, you could totally hook it up to a composite input on a TV and get composite graphics to game on a TV. And then also it would use color blending to do better graphics than a 4-color RGB would be able to do. And that's why Leisure Suit Larry looks so much better using the composite out to a composite monitor than an RGB monitor. All right. Computer is on. We have a cursor, so we have built-in video working. And let's set my AV source on there. I don't know if we get a cursor right off the bat on the composite, but we're not getting anything yet. And that might be normal. The composite might not work for everything. ModPro asking, did you guys get a new update? Samsung Electronics Company Ltd. Modern modem 2.17.16.0. I don't have a Samsung modem, so I don't think so. All right, so I still have nothing on the composite, but I don't know if I'm supposed to at this point. So let's set the date. I got a little bit of super glue on my fingertip earlier, and now I can't unlock my phone anymore because I never remember the date. Plus, I need to check the time. All right, so it is March 4th, 2022. 22:47. All right. I'm a little worried because I should have something on the composite at this point. Okay, there we go. It doesn't like the other mode. There's 2 text modes. And that's a little funky too. But then again, that could be this cable. Because see how it's... Let's bring a game up. See what we get. So I don't know. It might not. It might be both of these cards are a little funky. It might be something else is funky. But oh, that's not good. All right, let's play with the wire some more. That looked good for a little while. It's interesting that both cards are doing the same thing, though, which almost suggests it's something different. It could be that this player doesn't like the frame rate that this card is outputting. So what I'm going to do is get peed on by a dog. But while that's happening, I'm going to put this away, and I'm going to hook this up to the TV. And I'm going to see if it looks any better on the TV. I gotta find a good solid RCA cable is what I need to find. This one's pretty flimsy, but it might get the job done. All right, so let's turn on the TV. Let's set the front mode is video 2. All right, I'll hook up the yellow. And of course, this cable is short. Of course, this cable is short. All right, let's see if we can move this a little closer. Of course not. Of course, this cable is going to be short of being useful in any way, shape, or form. Oh. All right, so I need to find a long cable. Or I could hook it up to the switch box that's next to the TV, which is a bit closer to the desk. All right, so which system am I using on that? Let's do that, make sure that's working. Okay, so that is input 1, which is over here. I'm not sure if this is going to work because I'm using S-Video on that, but yeah, it's not going to work because I'm using S-Video on that and the video out, so that switch box is not going to the TV. Okay, fuck. I need to find a longer RCA cable. I should have one. Oh, here we go. That's nice and long. All right, so let's see if our TV syncs up better with this card's composite out. Oh, yeah. That hard drive loves to make those scraping sounds. I'm amazed this hard drive works at all for all the noise it makes. It is self-destructing on me every time I turn it on. All right. Now then, the video's not bad on the TV, but it is very finicky if I wiggle the wire. But that seems to be every wire if I wiggle the wire, and I don't think these wires are all bad. So I'm not sure why every wire I use on this is finicky. And this makes me wonder if the original video card is going to work just as good. So, of course, I'm going to shut this down, and I'm going to try to swap out the video card again and see if I can get a picture to lock in this good on this TV with that card. Because if both cards are in the same state, I may as well leave the original shorter card in there. And I'm just going to power it off. Parking the hard drive is really only necessary on these machines if you're going to move it. And I'm not done using it, so I'm not going to. So I just powered it off right now, and that's fine to do on these machines as long as it's staying stationary. But anytime you're going to lug it around, you should park the hard drive before powering it off. All right, so we're going to take that cable off. Take that card out. Where did I put that video card? Put it here in the box. And if this, basically we're going to figure this out, and then we're going to close things up for the night. And we're going to move on to our next project, which we're going to start discussing.
And I'll probably do another stream with that tomorrow because I'm anxious to play with my newest toy, which is the next project. But the next part of that project involves turning on something else. So I'm going to have to start prepping the desk for that. And we'll get into that in a moment once I figure out how to make this cable stop getting in my way. All right, let's put the hard controller back in. And hopefully that's the last card swap we have to do. Hopefully we can just, well, this will basically determine which video card we're going to leave in here for now until we figure more out. All right, so let's hook this composite cable back up. And I got cursor on the built-in screen, but I seem to not by default get video on DOS. And actually, it's funny. I found a piece of paper. There was a piece of paper that was kept in this machine. I think it was originally kept in like the panel with the power cord, and it slid down the panel. So when I took it apart, I found this piece of paper. And this piece of paper was actually a photocopy of a page from the original Compaq manual with the text highlighted on how to set the graphic mode to be the different mode that would work on an external monitor, which is basically Control-Alt less than, Control-Alt greater than, sets it between the two different graphic modes. And I have the original books that came with the second machine. And, so these pages I compared, these were copied right out of the manual. So it's funny that this little cheat sheet was kept in this machine. So I'm going to slide that back in there. So yeah, Control-Alt less than. And yeah, we got a little funkiness there, but the real question is can we stabilize it? And what might help is getting a screw in there. So yeah, that looks good. So let's load Leisure Suit Larry. And I think we might be at the point of just putting screws in, closing up, and calling this machine good until we figure out more about a clock card. Yeah, look at that. That picture's stable now. So I think I just had a frame rate issue on that Compaq, that portable DVD player. So yeah, we got composite output with CGA composite color graphics. We have the built-in beautiful green screen. We can totally play games on this. And of course, we may as well demonstrate some more things we could do before we close this up and put this away. Because one of my favorite games to play on an old school DOS PC would be Load Runner. And I don't know how many of you played Load Runner, but that's a classic. I usually played it with a joystick on our Computer Land BC-88, but it's totally playable with the keypad. If you use the number pad keypad, the 7 and 8, which are basically above to the left and right of the up arrow, act as your left hold dig and right hold dig. So it's really easy to single-handedly play this game with a number pad. Idea is to get all the treasure chests without being touched by the guys there. And the men there, you can trap them in a hole. They will eventually climb out of a hole. But if they get stuck in a hole to the point where the hole fills in, then they respawn at the top of the screen. And these guys are predictable in their movements, enough so that we can drive them to the bottom here, get them behind us, and run up the ladder. Because once you win, you got to get to the top of the screen. And here's where they're respawning right in my way, but that's okay. And there we go. Although that screen probably didn't come through very detailed. Is that Aldo? I'm not sure about that. I don't know if the guy in Load Runner has a name, but it's one of my favorite old school games. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to escape out of here. And let's see what else I have loaded on this. No, I said Q for quit. Oh, whatever. We'll Control-Alt-Delete. And, oh, Dune might have fell asleep. Yeah, DOS computers will do that. Let's see. So I have in here DOS, Load Runner, Donkey Kong, Jaybird, Leisure Suit Larry 1, Wheel of Fortunes 1 or 2, Jeopardy, Jeopardy 2, the Ford Demo 2, Mean 18, Striker, Space Quests 1 and 2, Classic Concentration 2. One thing I have on here that's fun to bring up. We have Microsoft Windows 1.01. Which is an appropriate version of Windows to put on this age of a machine. Although Windows 2 might work on here. Windows 3.0, I think, can work on an 8088. But why would you? It would take a lot of disk space. I'd probably want to put a 20 meg drive in here if I was going to do that. Anyways, basically the only good thing I could do with this is play Reversi. And I also put Monopoly, Advanced Boardwalk, Press Your Luck, and Price is Right on here. So we could... Monopoly requires the RAM expansion card. Monopoly won't run with only 256K of RAM. And we're not going to play a full game Monopoly, but I'm just loading it up just to show something else run on here. This version of Monopoly has CGA, EGA, Hercules, and Tandy graphics. Only CGA is going to work on here. And I wonder, it actually loads black and white on the composite output. So it's interesting that some games won't even do the 4-color on the composite. Anyways, I'm going to disconnect that cable. It's still a little finicky, but a little wire wiggling, and we can get a stable image. So anyways, yeah, we're going to quit out of here and park the hard drive and put some screws in and close this up. Of course, it's not letting me quit until I finish setting up the game. Yes, I want to quit. All right, the game is a draw. No, I don't want to play another game. There we go. And now we're going to park the hard drive. We're going to shut that down. Disconnect the power cable. And we need to let's see. Let's put the keyboard back on here. And we need to put a screw in the video card. And that might help stabilize it some because that won't be wiggling any in there. All right, and we need to screw in our RAM and clock card and our hard drive controller. Let's see if I have the right type of screws for those. I might just go with star screws for those if I can't find any of the flathead ones. Actually, that's right. All these slots had Phillips head screws in them. I'm not sure why, if that's what they came with or if they got replaced at some point from adding the cards in and work on them and them being much more pleasant to work with. But they are what I found in this machine. So here's one of those Phillips screws. All right. And that clamps that down. Let's see, somewhere up here I should have another one of those little Phillips. But I don't. Oh wait, I think it's actually those two screws. Let's see if that's the right. Yeah, those are the screws that were in there. Which means that that screw goes somewhere else, I think. And this screw goes in there. All right, and this is basically the first Compaq Portable I bought for like 25 bucks at an antique radio swap meet. The only thing I changed in it was the CRT screen and the foam in the keyboard, and I cleaned it up a bit. And this metal bracket is not the original because I don't know where that got to when I took it apart, but I'll probably find that and swap it back. The last thing I could do is this was always missing the metal bracket that goes here. I could put this on here because this came out of the parts machine. But like I said, this metal is more gold tinted than the other metal that's in here, so it looks out of place, which is already bothering me on this. So I'm kind of torn about that. Not to mention, this metal does nothing functionally. It just is something that's in the way when you want to mess with the cards in here. And like I said, I might try swapping out that clock card if I can find a driver for the other. So I'm not going to put that plate in. So that leaves us with one last piece. And that's this plastic panel here. And there we go. We got ourselves a fully working, fully assembled, cleaned up, nice and pretty Compaq Portable. We got ourselves compartment here for a power cord. I'm going to go ahead and tuck this one in here that was tucked into the compartment on the second one. I need to find another one with an angle like that, because if I find that, that's probably the one that came out of this machine. Although this one's not fitting in here. So this must have had one that was wrapped tighter. All right, well, somewhere I've got a power cord that fits in here. And this is the cheat sheet I found in here. There we go. And that machine is ready to go back in its spot in the living room where it's on permanent display. Okay, so what's next? And John Scipione writes in, ooh, yeah, we got that all put back together and working now. And the weird thing is all the parts that weren't working when I first bought it started working over the course of tinkering with it, and I don't know how I fixed them. But there you go. The next project I'm going to do is I'm going to work on this guy, which is a Compaq Portable 2, which is a 286 machine. And this machine is powering on and looking for a setup disk. And I think that's normal behavior for these machines that have a dead battery in them. So the first step is to get a setup disk. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going down the basement and digging up my VGA monitor, and I'm going to get my my Pentium 4 machine connected on this desk here, because that has a 5¼ inch drive on it and utilities to write disk images to 5¼ inch disks. So that way I could start creating the disks that I'll need for this machine. And not to mention, this case is a mess. It's all covered in dirt. So we'll probably take the case off of this, take this apart. I'm not sure of the keyboard type on this. I think I read somewhere that these keyboards also use foam in them. So we'll probably take this keyboard apart and see what we got in there. I have a set of foam on its way here. So although I bought that foam to refoam my second Compaq Portable, but somewhere I have leftover foam from the first kit I bought for the first machine. And each kit comes with 105 foam discs. So I don't know if there's enough for 3 keyboards between 2 sets, but either way, the second Compaq Portable is going to be something we deal with another time, because I got a dead video card, dead floppy drive, and I don't know what it's going to take to fix those up. And this thing's completely working, and this thing's a different type of machine that I haven't worked on yet. So my next project is this. This plastic case is snapping off here, but that doesn't snap like that. We'll have to deal with that. This, I need to take it apart. I need to clean up the pieces. I need to see if I got foam in this keyboard and refoam it. It was recognizing key presses when I booted it up, but even if a old foam keyboard recognizes key presses, usually it stops doing that as you wear the worn foam down that's in there. Not to mention, these keys will probably need some retro brighting, so that'll take some time. So yeah, that's going to be my next project, is to set up the Pentium 4, to grab all the necessary disk images, gather what spare 5¼ I have, because I'll need the setup disks for this. I don't know what version of DOS came retail with this. I do have DOS 3.10 Compaq DOS disks already built, but I don't. That might be the appropriate version of DOS for this. I'll have to check that out. Sparky Toaster asking what he missed. Well, we got the Compaq Portable back together. I bought a third machine that had a keyboard cut off for parts, and that had a working CRT. So I moved the CRT from that into the machine to get the CRT running again. And from there, it was cleaning up the case with some baking soda and water, getting that looking all nice and shiny, putting all the plastic back together around the metal chassis. booting it up and playing around a bit and testing out the different video cards, because the composite outputs are being finicky, but that seems to be consistent with both the video card that was in there and the spare video card from the parts machine. And so now I'm just kind of wrapping up for tonight with what we'll work on this weekend. So tomorrow during the day, I'll probably work on creating the discs, because that's boring stuff. No one needs to see a live stream of that. So hopefully tomorrow evening, I'll pop in and do a live stream, and we'll open this machine up a bit, poke around a little bit. We'll see if we can get the floppy drive to boot up to the setup disk. And if that works, we'll see if we could read the contents of the hard drive in here. This was sold as poor parts not working. The eBay listing didn't even show it being turned on. But I turned it on, and the screen came to life, and it asked me for a setup disk. So I don't know if it's that the seller didn't get it to turn on and something jostled into place while it was shipping, or if the seller didn't even try to turn it on and didn't want to deal with the bullshit of this doesn't work right, because something this age, of course, isn't going to work right, or what the deal is. But I think the seller did themselves a disservice by not including a picture of it booted up looking for a setup disk, because that says to me, hey, there's some good parts in here. Whereas just selling something that is advertised as parts without even verifying anything turns on, there's no guarantee you have any good parts. And great, Sparky. Thank you, Sparky Toaster. Sparky Toaster likes my shirt. Play on Coke. Yeah, this was record store day. I usually avoid the record stores on record store day unless I happen to want to go record shopping and forget it's record store day. And I happen to be in a record store on record store day. They happen to have a special record store day edition of the mono mix of Pink Floyd, Saucer Full of Secrets. I happen to really want that and was not even going to try to get it, because usually limited record store day releases are sold out. But I guess that one was one that was not moving fast. So I happened to be in the store. I happened to buy it. I happened to get the free record store day t-shirt from that store for buying a record store day item. So yay. So yeah, we'll do some I'll get some discs prepped. I'm also going to do some research on that clock card that came with the spare the parts Compaq Portable. And heck, we might try playing with that in the first Compaq Portable. But I'm excited to play with this some. So we'll see what we can do with that. So it cosmetically looks to be intact, but dirty and scuffed up. So I'm excited to see how good we can make this machine work by cleaning up the dirt off of it. Because I think this has potential to look pretty good, except for the handle. But I do have a handle that's more intact, but it has some wear on the top of it that is showing through a lighter color underneath. So I'll probably put that handle on anyway, since this handle is cracking through and you've basically got cables hanging out when you pick it up. I might try to stain the spare handle that I put on here so that it doesn't look as worn. Sparky Toast writes, and I never saw how the keyboard locks into the computer case. Yeah. The Compaq Portable, Compaq Plus, Compaq Portable 286, Compaq Portable 2 have these little tabs that lock it into the slots there, and that's the base of your machine. The Compaq Portable 3 also has a keyboard that locks in, but it's well, I might bring that out of the basement and show that off sometime. That was a Dune donation when I was driving across the country. Translation: Dune didn't want it cluttering his garage anymore, and I wanted it to clutter my space. So that was an easier fix up. That just needed a new battery and a new keyboard cable. And I did that a while back, but we could dig that out again and show that off. But we'll do that after this project. Thank you all for joining in tonight. I hope you've enjoyed this live stream. If you catch part of this on the replay or watching it on the YouTube channel, I know that this isn't your typical vintage computing YouTube channel with nice, solid production and all that, but you see it all live, you see it all happen. And anyways, leave any comments. Let me know if you have any questions, any other things you want to see me do on here. Let me know. Thank you for joining in. Good night.